This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observation number 46. So the first movie that I watched this week was actually a movie on DVD. I finally got one from the library called Max Relo and then Nether Blaster. It was kind of like an 80s style movie with the production value, very small budget. These teenagers who play video games their whole life. Kevin Smith, everybody knows him in the comic book world. He's the owner of the game store. He's in virtual reality. He's barely in the movie. The movie is they're really good at these games, and there's some like bullies who are also playing these games and like the girl that he likes, etc., etc. And his friend, is a lovable fat loser, things like that. And what happens is some dude drops off this really rare game, and he starts to play it and puts it on his stream, and then it turns out that this game is like haunted, and it takes over the city. And he and the girl he's liked for years, and his friend, and the guy who created the game, which is played by Greg Grunberg from Heroes, Star Wars, and Star Trek, and they got to save the day. And it wasn't that long of a movie. It was, an hour and 30-something minutes, and it was pretty cool. Now, just so you know, once the credits roll, you got to stick with it. There's things that come up. But either way, it was a pretty cool adventure sci-fi. The movie didn't take itself seriously. It knew what it was, and it wasn't bad. Most of the actors in this movie, you probably don't know their name unless you looked it up. Like the fat friend. I've seen him in a couple of movies before, and we all know Kevin Smith and Greg Grunberg, but you're like, not everybody's going to know them. So overall, I would say Max Relo and the Nether Blasters was a great movie to watch. Then I had to go on to the internet and watch some more movies. I watched the movie Welcome to Sudden Death with Michael Jai White, and he's great in these military action movies, martial art movies, because he actually knows martial arts. So his character is basically somebody who used to be in the military, but he wants to be home with his family, so he wants to get a 9-to-5 job. And he's security guard at a basketball arena, and, he's just one of the underlings. And supposedly the day he takes his kids to the game so they can watch the game while he's working, these people try to, exploit money out of the owner and plant bombs and try to kill everybody in the stadium and all security, and they don't realize that this dude was in the military. He's got all these skill sets, and he's got to deactivate bombs, save his kids, save everybody, save the person who owns the team in the arena. There's some government officials who are at the game, and stop all these people who are also like trained assassins or like trained people, like they've done stuff before, like him, military stuff. So it's not just regular dudes trying to rob the place, it's people with actual skill. And it was pretty funny because it's not a movie that takes that much into doing it, and it was like saving his kids and typical fight scenes and stuff like that. So an hour and 20-minute movie at most, wasn't that bad. It kind of looked at the Milwaukee Bucks basketball arena, but it was made in Canada, the movie. But pretty much had a lot of action scenes, him saving the day. It was pretty good. The janitor was pretty funny, so he's the guy who's in Think Like a Man and some other movies where he's the token white guy. And it wasn't a bad movie. A little bit cheesy, but, that's fine. I understand. It's a movie that's on Netflix. Then I watched another movie on Netflix called Calm with Horses. And it's basically some dude who's friends with his family who are like a drug dealer. And he's like the enforcer because he's a former teen, Olympian like boxer or whatever. And it's an Irish independent movie. And he's in that life, but then he's got a baby mama and a kid, and he's got to deal with that. And then there's all the rules of either you're with them or you're not. And it just starts to drag on a bit, even though it's close to an hour and 40 minutes. I felt like it was a lot longer. And one of the kids in the movie, Barry Keoghan, I've seen him in a bunch of movies before. So he's the only one I've noticed before. But overall, it wasn't the worst movie. It wasn't the best movie. I could have just, it's not a movie you should waste your time with. Then I decided I'm going to watch the final thing that was on Hoopla Canopy. It was the Clark Sisters, First Lady of Gospel, biopic movie. And it was good to learn about them from the time they're little kids to the time that they're adults and they've all grown up. And it wasn't bad. Seeing a movie about famous people, them growing up and music. And it's, an hour and 50 minutes. It's not that long of a movie. It goes by quickly because, there's all these time jumps and all this action and things that are happening. So it wasn't bad. You'll learn something new if we watch the Clark Sisters First Ladies of Gospel. Then I watched another action movie that's on Netflix called The Second. And again, barely an hour and a half, it's an hour and 20-something minutes. And basically, Ryan Philippe, whatever you pronounce his name, I was excited that he had a new show on ABC called The Big Sky, but then, spoiler alert, he's killed in the first episode. He's not in the show, but he's in all the promotional pictures and all the trailers. So I was like, cool, I get to see a movie that just came out recently, in recent months, a couple months ago, towards the end of last year. I get to watch this action movie. And again, Green Beret, guy who was in the military, he's got all this training, killed a bunch of the bad guys. He's got all this training, and supposedly it's cheesy because, like, his wife died years ago for something that he did, like the revenge. And his son is in college, and he's married or dating a new woman, and he's going to pick up his son on, like, Christmas break. So it's like a Christmas movie in a way like Die Hard is. So he goes to pick up his kids, basically the movie. His son, and his son, there's a girl on campus, and basically, she's a councilman, or somebody, like a congressman person, somebody that's very important in the government, and of course, if they kidnap her, the ransom is, you do this, you do for me, and I'll let your daughter go. And they don't realize that the last two kids on campus, one is that person in government, but then one's the other son is somebody whose father was in the military and also taught him hand-to-hand combat. So, of course, the movie is, his father's got to make sure that his son gets out alive, but also try to make sure that they don't kidnap the girl and save both their lives. And it was pretty good with the action fighting and, the killing. He killed a bunch of people. It was like gore, all stuff. The only thing I didn't like, it was cheesy in the way that the son learned some martial arts, but he can take on other trained military assets, part of like a terrorist cell inside the government and stuff like that. And it's really believable that his son could take down these people, and then his future girlfriend could do that. It was a little bit too unrealistic to watch, and you're not sure who are the good guys or the bad guys, because you got some guy who's the head of CIA, and then you got other assets who are going out there and trying to do stuff. And then, spoiler, because I'm not going to tell you how the movie goes, but in the movie, some terrorist people that grab his new wife or girlfriend, and go, "Are you blankety blank? We got your wife." And then it ends with them going, I'm going to fight all these people and stuff. And I'm like, if the movie was, his wife died years ago for somebody getting revenge, and he's trying to get his relationship with his son back in order, yeah, let's throw the end of the movie where you got to fight these bad guys because they took his wife, his new lover. It's like, are you going to make a sequel? Are you going to call it the third? Like, the ending like that is just pretty stupid. You could just cut the movie off there, that everybody came out good, la la la, we're all good. So that was like why I'm guessing like a cheesy movie on Netflix that didn't do that well. Then I was really unable to watch a movie on Friday night based on what the night is. So the last movie I watched that was like a new movie was Let It Snow. It's like a rom-com, Christmas movie where you got a girl getting a relationship with a person who's a musician, and it takes place in a small town in Illinois. And she and this musician who's older have some sort of relationship. Is she 18? Then there's two girls who are best friends, and one's worried about what her boyfriend's doing, and the other one is her secret girlfriend is in town. Ooh, and then you got the dude who was always in love with the girl who's currently the actress on Netflix's show Sabrina Teenage Witch. They're always been friends, but are they really interested in each other? And then there's the dude who's like the DJ at the party, and they work at the same restaurant as a lot of the other friends. And he's Spider-Man's best friend in the new Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland. I've seen him before. Then there was like this dude who came back from college who went to high school with them, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've seen that guy before. And I say to myself, that's interesting. I've seen him before. And then I realize it's the guy from Star. He was one of Star's many boyfriends in the show. So I was like, that's cool. I haven't seen this guy in a long time, so it's good to see him on there. So yeah, it was like actors from Spider-Man, The Good Place, Darcy Carden's in the movie, Joan Cusack plays a crazy lady. So it's a very well diverse cast of teenage romance and LGBT included. And there were some laughs, there were some interesting things, and it wasn't the worst movie. It was just, it's okay. When you watch a movie that's barely 90 minutes and it's got different story plots of Christmas and love, and it's just okay. It's something to pass the time with, so it wasn't that bad. And then I did watch a second movie on Tuesday, a movie I wanted to see with my friend who I haven't seen in a while, that I've seen the TV show many, 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 many times, was Stargate with Kurt Russell and James Spader. It's all about the ancient Egypts and all the relics and all the things that have been buried and how they were built, and all this ancient Egypt stuff has to do with aliens, and aliens taking humans to other planets through this thing called a Stargate, and you go to and then the goal of the movie is get the Stargate working. Then they get to the planet. Then how are you gonna get back? Then they interact with other humanoid people like aliens. Then they gotta deal with the bad guy and all this stuff. And it spawned like a great TV show. And so it was good that I got to rewatch this movie because it was really, really, really good movie. And it's under a 2-hour movie. It's not exactly 2 hours, but it wasn't bad. This one said it was extended cut, so I'm not sure if I actually watched the extended cut version, but overall, it made me remember how great of a movie it was. So overall, let us know, like the second and like Welcome to Sudden Death, all three were on Netflix pretty much, that you can watch them and go, okay, they're not bad. Welcome to Sudden Death was better than the second, but they're both a little cheesy. And the Clark Sister was an interesting, documentary to watch. Calm with Horses was the only movie I would not suggest because it dragged on. And then the physical copy new movie I watched, Max the Nether Blaster, was a really good movie. I would watch it. Thank you for listening to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations, number 46. For On the Radar Entertainment blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.